Kemi Badenoch has sparked a political firestorm with her latest comments on immigration, tearing into Keir Starmer during a heated interview with GB News' Camilla Tominey. In a bold and unfiltered tirade, the Conservative leader accused Starmer of misleading the public, claiming that Labour is pretending to be tough on immigration while actively obstructing Conservative efforts to secure Britain's borders. Badenoch, known for her sharp rhetoric, didn't hold back as she lambasted the Labour leader's record and delivered one of the most explosive interviews of her career.
You have moved, I think, during the leadership campaign, you didn't want to go as far as to say that you wanted to put a cap on migration, but you are now saying that. Is that an accurate representation?
Yes, what I said during the leadership contest, that a cap on its own is not enough, that numbers matter, so yes, a cap, but culture matters more. Who is coming into the country? How are we integrating them? How are we making sure that the people who come to this country care about it? This is not a hostel, it's not a dormitory, this is our home, and then making sure that the leadership follows through. So a cap is something that we can do. What I don't do is just make random promises without explaining where it's all going to come from. So I've said that a cap will be needed, but what was that cap going to be? Let's work out what we can sustain. We're going to need to have a very systemic review. How many homes should we be building? What makes sense? What is happening to our population? Where do we need skills? And make sure that migration is controlled. Where the points-based system went wrong was that we thought by putting in those points, it would be fine. I campaigned, in fact, in 2018, before we left the EU, where we couldn't manage our borders, that let's have skilled migration and not cap that, because that's what my constituents were telling me. The businesses in my constituency said, we can't get high-skilled people, can you help? And I did that. But when we saw that it wasn't working, I said, no, this is not good enough. We've got to do better. Let's change things. Let's start talking about what the courts are doing. So we can do a lot on immigration if we're given the chance. But the first thing we need to do is earn trust. And that is why, no matter how tough it is, I will make sure that I hold the Prime Minister to account on immigration at PMQs. We are the opposition, and we've got a job to do. And I'm going to make sure that we do that job.
The drama began when Badenoch launched a scathing critique of Labour's role in blocking Conservative immigration policies, including the controversial Rwanda legislation. According to Badenoch, Labour's opposition in the House of Lords crippled efforts to deliver on promises made to the British public. I'm not going to have Keir Starmer, who wanted foreign criminals to stay in this country, pretend that he's Mr. Immigration, she thundered. Badenoch accused Starmer of political hypocrisy, painting him as a leader who talks tough in public while quietly undermining meaningful action behind closed doors. Labour has always been about saying one thing and doing another. They blocked us at every turn, and now they want to pretend they're on the side of the British people. It's insulting, she declared. But Badenoch didn't stop there. She turned her attention to the broader issue of immigration, emphasising that the Conservative Party's stance goes beyond mere numbers. This is not a hostel. It's not a dormitory. This is our home, she said passionately. For Badenoch, the key lies in integration and ensuring that those who come to Britain contribute positively to its society. Who is coming into the country? How are we integrating them? These are the real questions we need to answer, she said, striking at the heart of the immigration debate. The interview sent shockwaves through the political establishment, with pundits and commentators quickly weighing in. Some praised Badenoch for her candour and unapologetic defence of Conservative policies, while others accused her of stoking division and failing to take responsibility for her party's shortcomings. Labour was quick to hit back, with a spokesperson dismissing Badenoch's remarks as desperate scapegoating and accusing the Conservatives of failing to deliver on their promises. Meanwhile, Badenoch also took a swipe at Nigel Farage and his growing Reform UK party, dismissing suggestions that the Conservatives face an existential threat from the insurgent group. Farage, who has positioned himself as a champion of the British people on issues like immigration and Brexit, has seen a surge in support for his party, particularly following Reform UK's recent victory in the Blackbrook by-election. But Badenoch was unimpressed, calling Farage's party a one-man show with no real substance. I haven't been elected as leader of the Conservative Party to do a deal with Nigel Farage, she said firmly. He's an individual personality, not a serious political force. Britain deserves better than gimmicks and empty rhetoric. The comments were seen as a clear attempt to shore up Conservative support and distance herself from Reform UK's populist appeal. Farage's camp, however, was quick to respond. Reform UK chairman Zia Youssef fired back, claiming that Farage is on course to become Prime Minister with hundreds of MPs in the next election. People trust Nigel when it comes to crucial issues like immigration, Youssef said, adding that Reform UK's rising poll numbers reflect growing public dissatisfaction with both Labour and the Conservatives. Adding fuel to the fire, Youssef hinted at the possibility of billionaire Elon Musk providing financial backing for Reform UK, though he stopped short of confirming any concrete plans. Elon Musk has a huge soft spot for Britain, just like President Trump does, Youssef said cryptically. A reform government could be the change this country needs, and who knows what Elon might do to support that vision. As the battle over immigration policy and political dominance rages on, another controversy is brewing in London. Mayor Sadiq Khan has come under fire for his response to rising anti-Semitism in the capital. Speaking at People's Question Time, Khan admitted that Jewish communities are living in fear, but praised the police for their efforts to address the issue. The police have done a very good job providing reassurance to Jewish communities, he said, urging Londoners to play their part in fostering a sense of safety and inclusion. Khan's comments have sparked a fierce backlash, with critics accusing him of downplaying the severity of the problem and failing to take decisive action. The Community Security Trust has reported a dramatic increase in anti-Semitic incidents, with Jewish people feeling increasingly unsafe in the wake of large pro-Palestinian marches in the city. A spokesperson for the campaign against anti-Semitism slammed Khan's leadership, saying, "Jewish people feel like we're drowning. These protests have unleashed a tidal wave of anti-Semitism that has left no part of our society unaffected." Social media users were equally vocal, with many condemning Khan's remarks as insufficient and tone-deaf. "He can't even address Jewish safety without turning it into a political deflection," one commenter wrote, referencing Khan's mention of Islamophobia in his speech. Another criticised his leadership directly, saying Khan's weak response is encouraging anti-Semitism. The controversy surrounding Khan has been further amplified by news of his impending knighthood in the New Year Honours list. A petition opposing the honour has garnered over 175,000 signatures, with critics arguing that Khan's tenure as mayor has been marked by failures on public safety and community cohesion. "He doesn't deserve a knighthood, he deserves accountability," one protester declared. Gideon Falter, chief executive of the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism, delivered a blistering speech at the recent March Against Anti-Semitism, accusing authorities of double standards in policing. Men standing in London chanting for jihad roam free, while police tackle those denouncing Hamas as terrorists. "This double standard is disgraceful," he said, urging stronger action to combat hate. With tensions running high across the political spectrum, the stakes have never been higher. Badenoch's fiery rhetoric, Farage's populist surge, and Khan's embattled leadership all point to a nation grappling with deep divisions and an uncertain future. The battle for Britain's political soul is far from over, and the coming months are sure to bring even more twists and turns.